Hello everyone, I am MNB Achari from ESL. You know Narayana Murthy, often known as the father of IT sector and founder of Infosys, the man with a net worth of $1.9 billion, is a person who doesn't need any introduction at all. He had managed to clear the IIT JEE exams, but his father could not afford his hostel and tuition expenses, due to which he made up his mind to join a local engineering college in Mysore. Now he is considered the pioneer of India's software industry, and his story found a place in Andhra and Telangana textbooks for class 10 students. In this video, let's see how Narayana Murthy's uncompromising nature, uncompromising attitude helped him achieve success. Let's begin, shall we? Okay, this is reading C from the first unit. The title is I Will Do It. This is about Narayana Murthy, the founder of Infosys. Shall we begin? I will do it. Let me read the first paragraph here. He was short, he was sharp, he was the brightest boy in his class. His seniors used to ask him to solve their difficulties in science. He could have gone unnoticed in a crowd, but once you asked him a question related to physics or maths, there was a spark in his eyes. He could grasp theories of science faster than the speed of light. Okay, let's discuss each in detail. Now here we have a few words in bold yellow color, and let's discuss what they are. Sharp. Now he was sharp. Now we use this word sharp when we talk about people or their minds, their eyes, etc. Now here, quick to notice or understand things or to react. This boy or this man, Narayana Murthy, when he was a boy, he was sharp. Means here he was very quick to notice or understand things. Okay, look at this here. He could have gone unnoticed in a crowd. What does this mean? This means he was usually quiet in his class, silent in class, and so he could not be noticed easily by others. He was a silent man, a silent boy when he was studying in school. He was usually silent in class, but it was not because he was short. No. But once you asked him a question related to physics or maths, there was a spark in his eyes. Was it a real spark that we know of? No. Look at this here. A spark is a feeling of excitement. This is the meaning here. Now, whenever there was a question related to physics or mathematics, there was a feeling of excitement in his eyes. He could grasp theories of science faster than the speed of light. You know how fast light travels. Now it does not mean that he could understand things really faster than the speed of light, but just to compare how quick he was to understand things. This was mentioned. He could grasp. Now here grasp means to understand something, especially something difficult. So most people find physical science and maths a bit difficult than the other subjects. But this man was very quick to notice, quick to understand things. He was very quick to understand these two subjects, physics and mathematics. Let's move on. Let me read the second paragraph here. He came from a poor but educated family. His father was a high school teacher and an avid reader of English literature. He, like all the boys in his class, was trying to get admission into some engineering college. The brighter ones wanted to study in the Indian Institutes of Technology, or the IITs. There was an entrance test for IIT. This boy, along with his friends, applied to appear for the test. Now look at this here. Murthy's father was an avid reader of English literature. So avid means very enthusiastic, very keen. So this man was a very keen reader of English literature. He was very enthusiastic. It means here he showed a lot of interest, great interest in reading English literature. Now what is this literature or English literature? So literature is nothing but books, plays, dramas, poems, etc. that people think are important and good. So any poem or any play, anything written in English language is called English literature. Now, especially something that is important and good. So this man was a very good reader of English literature. So these simple things. All the brighter students always wanted to study in IITs. There was an entrance test, and along with Murthy's friends, he applied for the test. Shall we move on? Let's look at this paragraph. They did not have any special books or coaching. All these IIT aspirants would sit below the shade of a stone mandap close to Chamundi Hills in the sleepy town of Mysore. He was the guide for the others. While the others struggled to solve the problems in the question paper, he would smile shyly and solve them in no time. He sat alone below a tree and dreamt of studying at IIT. It was the ultimate aim for any bright boy at that age, as it still is today. He was then only 16 years old. Let's see what these words mean. Aspirant, a person who very much wants to achieve something, who has a desire to achieve something. So aspirant, here we have a plural word, aspirants. So people are here students who wanted to achieve a seat in IIT, a place in IIT. Now all these students would sit below the shade of a stone mandap. So mandap is a raised platform, especially built of stone. So in southern India especially, a temple porch, a temple veranda is called mandap. So look at this, you will understand this. So this is a mandap, stone mandap made of stone. Now where would they sit? Near Chamundi Hills. A mandap in the shade of or below the shade of stone mandap close to Chamundi Hills. Chamundi Hills. Okay, so you can find Chamundi Hills in Mysore, in the sleepy town of Mysore. Look at this here, sleepy town of Mysore. Do you think it means that people in the village were always sleeping? No. Sleepy town is a town where nothing exciting happens. So people are usually busy with their works, but nothing exciting happens. Nothing out of the routine happens. It's quite routine and normal. Now this Murthy was the guide for the others. A guide is a person who advises. Now he was the guide for the others. It means here he would help the students, other students with their subjects, especially physics and mathematics. While the other students struggled to solve the problems in the question paper, he would smile shyly and solve them in no time. So how would he smile? Shyly. Now if a person smiles shyly, he smiles nervously or uncomfortably. Now this man, we'll know about this one. This man, Narayana Murthy, was an introvert. He was a bit shy. So he would smile shyly and solve them in no time. Here, in no time means very quickly. He sat alone below a tree and dreamt of studying at IIT. So it was the ultimate aim for any bright boy. What is the meaning of ultimate? Ultimate means a most important and highest. So the most important and highest aim for any bright boy those days, are especially boys or maybe students of that age, and even now it is still today the ultimate aim for most of the students. The ultimate aim for any bright boy was to study at the IITs. This Murthy was then only 16 years old. We'll see the next paragraph. The Dday came. He came to Bangalore, stayed with some relatives and appeared for the entrance test. He did very well, but would only say okay when asked. It was the opposite when it came to food. When he said okay, it implied bad. When he said good, it implied okay. When he said excellent, it implied good. His principle was never to hurt anyone. The IIT entrance results came. He had passed with a high rank. What a delight for any student. He was thrilled. He went to his father, who was reading a newspaper. Let's look at this Dday. What's that Dday that came? Let's have a look at the historical reference when it comes to this word Dday. Let's see how this word came into existence. Now, currently, the meaning of this Dday is a date on which something important is expected to happen. So, what happened in the history? From the name given to June 6, 1944, this Dday, the name Dday is given to June 6, 1944. What happened on the day? The US, British and other armies landed on the beaches of northern France. They invaded northern France in the Second World War. That was considered the most important day in history. So anything that is important in your life, any day that is important in your life can be your D-Day. So what was the D-Day in Murthy's life? What was the most important day in Murthy's life? It was the day when he took the entrance test. Okay, so what was the principle that Murthy followed in order not to hurt anyone? He never wanted to hurt anyone. So that was the principle he followed. So what is the example that explains that Murthy followed this principle, never to hurt anyone? When he was talking about food, when he ate food maybe in someone else's house, maybe a relative or someone, when he said okay about the food, it was actually, the food was actually bad. It means when the food was bad, this boy would say, okay, the food was okay. You can understand, the food was bad, but he would say okay. Why? In order not to hurt the other persons. And when the food was okay, he would say the food was good. And when the food was just good, he would say excellent. What a wonderful principle to follow. Why should we hurt other people's feeling? Because they work really hard for us, and then with a simple comment, with a simple negative feedback, we hurt them. Why should we do that? Great principle. Now delight. Now what a delight for any student. So why was Murthy delighted? Because he passed the IIT entrance exam with a high rank. So delight is a feeling of great pleasure, or simple meaning is joy. He was joyful because he passed it with a high rank. He was thrilled, really surprised. He enjoyed that moment. He went to his father, who was reading a newspaper. Let's see what happened. Anna, I have passed the exam. Well done, my boy. I want to join IIT. His father stopped reading the paper. He lifted his head, looked at the boy and said with a heavy voice, my son, you are a bright boy. You know our financial position. I have 5 daughters to be married off and 3 sons to educate. I am a salaried person. I cannot afford your expenses at IIT. You can stay in Mysore and study as much as you can, or as much as you want. What is the word Anna here? It is actually a word used to show respect to elders. Now here he was talking to his father. In order to show respect for his father, he said Anna. Now afford. This is a bit tricky word, afford. Be able to spend money. Now we usually use this word afford with can or could, especially with negative words like cannot. Negative sense. In the negative sense, I cannot afford, or I could not afford. Here he was using present tense. I cannot afford your expenses. It means I cannot spend money on the expenses at IIT. So expenses expense is the money that you spend on something. Now his father clearly told Narayana Murthy that he could not spend money on his expenses at IIT. So hostel fee and then tuition fee. And he also told him to stay in Mysore and then study as much as he wanted. Indeed, it was a difficult situation for any father to say no to his bright son. But circumstances were like that. It was common then for the man to be the single earning member with a large family dependent on him. His father was sad that he had to tell the bitter truth to his son, but it could not be helped. The boy had to understand reality. What is the word indeed here? What does it mean? Indeed means here really. Now, circumstances are situations, conditions. So the conditions were like that. His father's financial position was not good because he was the only man who was making money, he was earning money. And he had a large family that was dependent on him. Now, his father was sad that he had to tell the bitter truth to his son. Bitter truth, what was the bitter truth that Murthy's father told him? What was the truth? What was the unpleasant truth that Murthy's father told him? The bitter truth was that he could not send Murthy to IIT. So that was it. The bitter truth was that their financial position was not good and he could not send his son to IIT. Now look at this here, this sentence, but it could not be helped. He told him the bitter truth, but it could not be helped. The meaning is this: it couldn't be helped means there was no way of avoiding it and they had to accept it. Their financial position was bad and they had to accept it. Good. Let's move on. The teenager was disappointed. It seemed his dreams had burnt to ashes. He was so near to fulfilling his fondest hope, yet so far. His heart sank in sorrow. He did not reply. He never shared his unhappiness or helplessness with anybody. He was an introvert by nature. His heart was bleeding, but he did not get angry with anybody. Now his dreams had burnt to ashes. What was his dream? His dream was to study at IIT. But all his dreams were destroyed. All his plans to study at IIT were shattered, were destroyed. Now look at this interesting thing here. So near, he was so near to fulfilling his fondest hope, yet so far. Now look at this here. The fondest hope, the dream that Murthy had was to study at IIT. He was so close to fulfilling it. It means that he almost fulfilled his desire to study at IIT. And he was so far at the same time. He was far from achieving his goal of studying at IIT. Now how can we say that he was both near to fulfilling his hope and far from it at the same time? How can a person be able to fulfill and be away from it at the same time? The answer is here. He was so close to fulfilling his desire by passing the IIT entrance exam. And he was far from achieving his goal or fulfilling his hope because his father could not send him to IIT. He said no. I think the explanation is clear. Let's move on. He was an introvert. Murthy was an introvert by nature. Now, an introvert is someone who is quiet and shy and does not enjoy being with other people. But on the contrary, the opposite is extrovert. Extrovert, a person who is extrovert is completely different. He enjoys being with other people. He is a sociable person. Now, his heart was bleeding. It means he was feeling sad at not being able to fulfill his desire. He was extremely sad. That is the meaning. Now the next paragraph. The day came. His classmates were leaving for Madras, now Chennai. They were taking a train from Mysore to Madras. They have shared good years in school and college together. He went to the station to say goodbye and good luck to them for their future life. This is simple. So I think I need not explain this one. So they have been studying, they had been studying then together for many years, and as the friends were leaving, Murthy was there. They were going there to Madras by a train. The next paragraph. At the station, his friends were already there. They were excited and talking loudly. The noise was like the chirping of birds. They were all excited and discussing their new hostels, new courses, etc. He was not part of it. So he stood there silently. One of them noticed and said, "You should have made it, Murthy." Now, chirping of birds. Chirping is short, sharp, high-pitched sound, like the sound made by birds. Now, there were no birds, but the sound of the students talking loudly was like the sound made by the birds. They were discussing their new hostels, new courses, etc. They were discussing. Now look at this here, discussing. There is no word about. If you look at the grammar point here, we should not use about after the verb discuss. So we should not say discussing about or discuss about. Just leave it. Say discuss. Let's discuss a plan. Let's discuss this plan. Let's discuss the issue. These are correct. Now he was not part of it. Murthy was not part of it. What was Murthy not part of? Actually, he was not part of the discussion. The discussion among the friends. Now one of Murthy's friends said, "You should have made it, Murthy." It means you should have convinced your father somehow and joined IIT. They were also sad because Murthy was not Murthy was not going there to IIT with them. Let's move on. He did not reply. He only wished all of them. They waved at him as the train slowly left the platform. He stood there even after he could no longer see the train or the waving hands. It was the June of 1962 in Mysore city. Monsoon had set in and it was getting dark. It had started to drizzle, yet he stood there motionless. Monsoon. This is a period of heavy rain in summer in South Asia. The rain that falls during this period is also called monsoon. So we often say monsoon rains, monsoon season as well. He stood there even after he could no longer see the train or the waving hands. The friends were waving from the train was moving away. He was not able to see, and then he stopped waving. Now it was the June of 1962 in Mysore city. Monsoon had set in. What is the meaning of this set in phrasal verb? Monsoon had set in means here monsoon had begun. Set in means to begin. Since we have past perfect tense here, had plus V3, I have changed this to V3 here, had begun. And it had started to drizzle. You know this simple word. Drizzle means here to rain in small light drops. But Murthy stood there motionless, without any movement, without any motion. He was really sad. We can understand this from this sentence. Next paragraph. He said to himself without anger or jealousy, "All students from the IITs study well and do big things in life. But it is not the institution. Ultimately, it is you and you alone who can change your life by hard work." Probably he was not aware that he was following the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Your best friend is yourself and your worst enemy is yourself. Jealousy. Murthy was not jealous. Murthy was not angry. He had neither of the feelings. Now jealousy is feeling of anger and unhappiness because you don't have what somebody else has. Now, his friends were studying at IIT. Usually he should be jealous of those people, but he was not jealous of them. He knew that all the students who study at IIT do big things in life, but he also realized that it is not the institution that changes you, that makes you big. Ultimately, finally, it is you and you alone. Probably he was not aware that he was following the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Here probably means possibly, maybe. If you say something is probably going to happen, you say it is likely to happen. He was not aware, he did not know that he was following the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. What is philosophy? Philosophy is the attitude or set of ideas that guides the behavior of a person. Now people follow different ideas, different principles, they are their philosophies. Now what was the philosophy that Murthy was following? Your best friend is yourself and your worst enemy is yourself. This is absolutely true. It's all in the state of mind. It's all in the attitude that we possess. It's all in the way of thinking that we do. Later he worked very hard and focused on one thing, never bothering about his personal life or comforts. He shared his wealth with others. He never used the help of any caste, community or political connections to go up in life. A son of a school teacher showed other Indians it was possible to earn wealth legally and ethically. He built a team of people who were equally good. Murthy never bothered about his personal life or comforts. He was never worried. So never worrying about his personal life or comforts. What are comforts? Comfort is a way of living in which you have all the money and possessions that you want. But he never bothered about having all the possessions. He just wanted to live or lead a simple life. He shared his wealth with others. But he never used the help of any caste, community or political connections to go up in life. It means here he had many political influences, political leaders that could help him, but he did not use them at all. Now, a son of a school teacher, ordinary school teacher, showed other Indians that it was possible to make money legally and ethically. Legally, following the law, according to the law, and also ethically. So ethically is an adverb. The adjectival form of ethically is ethical. Ethical means here moral, following moral values. So he proved that money can be made legally and following moral values. And he also built a team of people who were as good as him. He became a pioneer of India's software industry and started the information technology wave. Today he has become an icon of simplicity, uncompromising quality and fairness. Apart from being a philanthropist, he really believes in the motto powered by intellect and driven by values. Murthy was a pioneer, a person who is one of the first people to do something. He was one of the first people who started this information technology wave, in fact software industry. Now there was technology wave, he started it. What is this technology wave? A sudden increase in the use of technology. And Murthy has become an icon of simplicity. Icon is a symbol of simplicity, uncompromising quality. So uncompromising people are unwilling to change their opinions or intentions. They never change their principles and ideas. And this man also showed this quality called fairness. Fairness is nothing but being genuine, honest. So fairness, honesty. Both are nouns. Fairness, honesty. Fair, honest. Apart from being a philanthropist. So philanthropist is a rich person who gives a lot of money to help poor people. This word comes from two words, anthropos and phile. Anthropos means mankind, human beings, and phile means love. A lover, a person who loves something. Now this man loves human beings. This man loves mankind, and he shows his love for them by spending money on them. He became a pioneer of India's software industry. We have already discussed this, but there is a grammar point that we want to discuss here. Apart from. So, apart from is a preposition. Apart from means in addition to, as well as. In addition to being a philanthropist. Now what does this motto mean? A person should have the power of logical thinking, and his actions should follow ethical values. Logical thinking, intellect, values, ethical values. Murthy believes that such people are always successful. That is the end of the lesson. I will do it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. But don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you.